Welcome to Tech Bites and News, your personal generative AI podcast. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of working for American tech companies as an Aussie. It's a unique perspective, isn't it?
Totally. It's like a cultural exchange program, but with code and deadlines. So what are the main takeaways from this experience?
Well, the biggest hurdle is definitely the time zone difference. Imagine waking up to a half day's worth of emails and Slack messages. It's a whirlwind of catching up before your actual workday even begins. But there's a silver lining. Those quiet afternoons for deep work are amazing.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like having a built-in, uninterrupted block of time. Although, I bet the loneliness factor can be a real downer. Being the only APAC engineer must be tough.
Oh, it was rough at first. But GitHub's got a great culture of documentation, so I rarely felt left out of important decisions. And that handoff work strategy? Genius! It's like having a superpower. It's 2 times the speed.
2 times the speed? That's impressive. But the article also mentioned instability. That's a valid concern, right? Working for an American company as a non-American, you're always at risk of the whole thing being shut down.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a gamble. The Australian tech market is nowhere near the size of America's, so the job hunt would be much harder if things went south. That's why you have to be strategic. You need to really align yourself with the company's goals. It's less idealistic and more tactical than working for an Australian company.
Interesting. It sounds like a bit of a cultural tightrope walk, too. The author mentioned the differences between Australian and American work cultures. Australians tend to be more understated, while Americans are much more enthusiastic.
Yeah, it's a real contrast. Americans are often seen as boastful by Australians, and Australians might be seen as meek by Americans. You really have to adjust your communication style to fit in. It's not always easy.
So what's the bottom line? Why bother working for an American company if it's so tricky?
Well, the scale is bigger, the compensation is usually better, and the brand recognition is fantastic. Plus, that rhythm of busy mornings and peaceful afternoons is really growing on me. And the follow-the-sun work model is a huge benefit for the company. It's a pretty sweet deal, all things considered.
It sounds like a challenging but potentially rewarding experience. A bit like a high-stakes game of cultural Tetris. Thanks for breaking it down for us.
My pleasure. And that's all the time we have for today's episode of Tech Bites and News. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye!
Bye-bye.